View after a career as a trailblazer, first at NBC's Today Show, then at ABC as the first female network co-anchor, co-host of 2020, countless specials, and a woman who's interviewed presidents and prime ministers and every celebrity on the planet, just about. But I think I've detected a change in tone in her highly popular daytime show, so I began with that when I visited the Manhattan offices of The View. Barbara Walters, thank you for letting us into your luxurious dressing room.
With no window, yeah.
Nice curtains, though.
Yeah, we cover everything up with curtains, yeah.
During the national melodrama over the government shutdown and this fierce debate over Obamacare, I didn't see much of that on The View. Has Washington politics just gotten too boring?
The View, as I sometimes say to them, is not Meet the Press. The View is a daytime show. A lot of people do get their news from The View, but it's supposed to be entertaining, upbeat. I didn't think the shutdown was either entertaining or upbeat.
It definitely, some people might have said it was entertaining, but it was anything but upbeat. You do these water cooler topics, breast implants, the Kardashians. You did one on doing it on the first date.
I don't remember that. Certainly not talking about me. Now, you know, The View will take subjects in the news, and people do watch it, and if they haven't seen the news in the morning, they do get their news. But that's not what the show is about. When I created it, it was supposed to be different women of different opinions, maybe different generations, getting together and talking the way you wish you could at home, but you're too busy doing the dishes. It was not a news show per se.
But in the past, you've had a political impact during campaigns. You've had presidential candidates on.
We've had the president on. We've had, we've had John McCain on.
Would you like to have Ted Cruz
on?
Sure.
Yeah. But it's not a political show. It was never meant to be. The fact that you can have a daytime show and do newsworthy subjects, that was what was new. And also the fact that you could have women together, and now we have an occasional man.
It's very nice of you to open up the gates for those of us of the other gender.
It's every once in a while we try to give you
throw us a bone.
A little something. But the fact that you can have primarily women discussing, arguing, disagreeing, you know, live. That's what was new about this show. And now a lot of programs, I think, have copied us. I mean, I tune in and everybody's sitting around a desk and everybody's talking and everybody's smiling, and I think The View.
I guess that makes you have to work harder because you've got competition in the franchise that you basically created.
I guess I did create The View, but
now I turn on and I see, you know, everybody from Katie to Ellen to Megyn. Oprah has her own channel, but people forget, some of your younger fans may forget, in 1976 you became the first female co-anchor of a network newscast with Harry Reasoner, and you were miserable. Well,
it was not my finest time. Harry Reasoner, who was a fine newsman, did not want a partner. A. B, if he was going to have a partner, he certainly didn't want a woman. So I have the distinction of being the first female network newscaster. But I was a failure, and it was a terrible period in my life. I thought I was drowning with no life preserver. I was, at that point, a single mother. It was a very tough time, and it's taken a long time before a woman is accepted on a network news program. My fine colleague, Diane Sawyer, is.
I think it's fair to say you've bounced back as well. Just one more thing on politics.
I'm okay.
All right.
I'm okay.
Having interviewed every president since, what, Herbert Hoover?
No, Abraham Lincoln. If you're going to get tough with me, then do it. Do it right.
Is there anything that bothers you about D.C.'s current dysfunctional culture, or just the intensity of the criticism of President Obama, whether you agree with him on everything or not?
Look, with the advent of cable, everybody has an opinion. What bothers me in a separate way is that there are no news magazines anymore, except for 60 Minutes, which is in a protected time period, which means you cannot put a drama opposite or a Miss America opposite. You know what I'm saying?
You were a staple on 2020 for so many years.
2020 now is not the news magazine that it was. It's very popular, but it's much more theme and crime oriented and so on. The news magazine per se doesn't exist, so that the kinds of interviews that I did, I would probably put them on Good Morning America, we don't have the same programs, and we don't have the same need for those in-depth political interviews that we used to have.
Do you say that with a touch of sadness? Because that was your bread and butter.
Well, I mean, you can do it on your show. You are blessed.
But is one of the reasons that you decided to move on from 2020 because it wasn't the same show? And none of the shows are the same. I shouldn't say that, but many of the shows
it is why
are less political.
Yeah, I had done 2020 for 25 years, and I did feel that from what I wanted to do, it was not the same show. And I have The View, which gives me the opportunity to give opinions and do news stories. I've been on television forever, and I love it, but I'm not going to do it forever.
I'm going to save that for the kicker.
I wondered when it was going to come up.
You've had some turnover this season with Joy Behar and Elizabeth Hasselbeck moving on, new panelists. Is it hard to create a new ensemble because so much of your program depends on chemistry?
The chemistry now is good. The chemistry is different. Jenny McCarthy, I think, brings such light and fun to the show.
I was watching one morning when you said to Jenny McCarthy, you brighten up the show, we love having you on, and it seemed to me like you were responding to some of the criticism out there that maybe she's not connecting with the audience.
Well, I think the criticism about her was unfair, and it was criticism that had to do with very personal views.
Her views, I mean, she's made no secret of advocating for the view that most scientists do not believe that childhood vaccines cause autism. You think that that's at the root of the criticism of her?
I think it was at the root of some of the criticism. It's not a subject that we have discussed on The View. I chose Whoopi Goldberg to be on The View, and I think it was a very good choice. It gave her a whole new aspect for her career, and the chemistry on the show is important. It does have to, it's not just 4 people arguing or 5 people arguing with each other. It's the difference in the views and the difference in the things that we feel deeply about. And I'm very proud of the show. I think it was new. Now it's being copied. That's great. But it still is, it has its own distinction.
But is it a challenge for you when a Rosie O'Donnell or a Joy Behar leaves and you have to kind of reinvent it with a new season?
Each one had its own place. When I wanted Whoopi, and I did, there were people who said, no, she's not going to be right, and we should have so-and-so and so-and-so. So you take a chance. And I'm very proud of the fact that it did all work out. And I think we've been a little daring. We started, as I remember, with Meredith Vieira. And I think it helped to make Meredith a wonderful star that she is. The View has been the bouncing off point for a lot of people. Joy Behar is no longer on the program, but Joy has a whole career in stand-up. We have Sherry Shepherd on now. I think she's absolutely wonderful. Elizabeth Hasselbeck left us. Now she's on Fox, you know. Yeah. So I'm very proud of the people that, I mean, I didn't create them. Did I help to launch them? Yeah, and that makes me feel good.
You're like a Broadway producer.
No, you know what? I have always been a big booster of other women. I've always worked with other women, and if I have any legacy, that's it. And I'm very proud of that.
All right, I said I was going to save this for the end. So you've announced to the world this is your last season. Was that related to some of the health problems you were having earlier?
No, my health is absolutely fine.
We're happy to hear that.
No, and that was, the operation that I had was, what, 2 years ago or something? And then I had chickenpox after that. Yeah. At my age, that was pretty silly to have chickenpox. I want to leave while you still want to interview me. I want to leave.
I will always want to interview you.
I want to leave while people say, you know, we will miss her. I don't want to be on so long that they say, is she still on? And you sort of have to know when to go. This doesn't mean that I won't maybe produce something. This doesn't mean that I will never do a television show. But I just felt it was time. I have no regrets about that. I feel okay about that.
So it's not that it was becoming a grind. You still love to do it. But I'm thinking, you know, come the spring, you're going to be having so much fun, and you're going to say, well, maybe one more season.
No, I remember, and I love Frank Sinatra, and I remember that he wasn't going to sing anymore. Remember? And then he did, and then he did, and then did another concert and another. I don't want that to be me, you know. And when I go, I will go. Will I ever do another program? Sure. Will there ever be another opportunity? I feel great. I look okay. But I just don't want it to be, she's still doing it, she's still grinding it out. That's an unhappy feeling for me.
So this is the swan song.
Yeah.
Barbara Walters, thanks very much for sitting down with us here.